Hello, welcome to another episode of the Target Individual Program. I am a TI, Targeted Individual, or SP, Suppressive Person. Whichever way you want to look at it, they're both the same. TI is a name that we coin ourselves because we are victims of non consensual human experimentation. And we are also the victim of a coercive persuasion program, which is a psychological program that uses psychology, psychological methods, psychological technology, such as dark NLP, and technologies that is used to experiment on us in terms of psychological conditioning, such as silent sound spread spectrum, microwave auditory effect weapon, voice to skull, and bone conduction. Okay. Um, the coercive persuasion program, it is meant to silence TI. It is meant to cast doubt on their sanity. It is meant to label them as having a mental illness. And this is the same sort of program that was used in Germany, uh, in which, not Germany, Russia, in which the use of the psychiatric facilities and industries to quiet dissident by placing them and institutionalize them in mental institutions. And so this psychological program is meant to do that, along with other things such as the destruction of their lives, their livelihood, their mental state, their economic status, their friendship, their family. It is meant to destroy those things in their life. For those who speak out, who continue to fight the psychological conditioning that's taking place under the false pretense by the United States government of trying to help the individual, which we know that is a lie. And so on psychologicalharassment.com, it gives you a great explanation of psychological manipulation and induced psychological illness, because that's exactly what's being done. Now, as I said, that is one part of the program. The other part is the non-consensual experimentation of directed energy weapon, as well as illegally microchipping individuals for the study of what is called remote neural monitoring. And so this page on psychologicalharassment.com gives you a full explanation, as well as several examples of the psychological themes and tactics that they will use on TIs. But before I continue on to my next topic, I was watching a couple of TI videos. One in particular said that she will no longer be watching TI videos because she went to the police and she went to a psychiatrist, and they told her that this is something that we as TI, conjured up in our minds, okay? Which is the furthest thing from the truth. And it's sad when TIs believe that. They go to the very same people who participate in their psychological torture, the psychological harassment, the same people who are doing this to them. They are going to those people looking for help. You cannot go to the people who are torturing you and asking for help. They're not going to help you. They're going to continue to tell you that, oh, it's all in your mind. They're going to continue to tell you that, live your life, don't worry about what's going on. They are directly involved. Okay? They are directly involved in targeting you. Okay? All right. So as far as my targeting goes, I made a video of my daughter. My son, my youngest son, is taking swimming lessons. So last Sunday past, I took them because it was my weekend to have the kids. So I took them swimming, and I was recording my daughter in the swimming pool, and because I held the camera in the horizontal position, it picked up the people in the background, and you can clearly see how they were targeting me psychologically with the hand signals and stuff like that. And I'm going to play the video. I uploaded this video on YouTube prior to this video in full high definition, which is 1080p. And the program that I'm using to record this, narrative, only allows me to output the video at 720p. So, it may not come out clearly on this video, but if you can go to my previous video, which has the video in full HD, and you can clearly see what's going on. So let me start the video, and I'm going to narrate through the video. So, my daughter's in the swimming pool. Let me load on the volume a little bit. So, my daughter's in the video. That's her right there. Right here. Now, watch the people in the background and watch how they move. Once one person starts, they're going to start. This guy right here in the green shirt with the shorts on, he pinches his nose, then he grabs his crotch, and look what he does with his hand. His hand's right there. Let me go back to that. Okay? So, here he comes. Grabs his crotch right there, flicks his hand, turns. Now this woman, she grabs her behind, gives me the finger. Let me go back. There you go. Now, you may not be able to see it, but if you go to my video and you pause it right about here, she sticks her middle finger out at me. Then the guy in the back, okay, now they're following each other now. He's not going to walk away, but he's going to approach the pool, put his leg up, and put his hands on his pool. Then, his hands on his leg. Now this woman here, right, with the afro, okay, she's going to walk towards him. And watch, she touches her hair. That's this guy. Now she comes, grabs her hair. Look, right here. This guy, or this woman here, folds her hands. He does this, as I've explained before in previous videos, that they're always doing that. Okay? Now this guy, you're gonna see, he's gonna pinch his nose. There you go. This girl, she pulls her hair, pulls it down, walks away. Here this girl comes back. She has the black bag on. He starts touching himself. This guy walks up to him. Here he goes, hands in the hair again, like this. Okay? These are all subliminal messages. All subliminal. And if you're a TI, you'll be able to recognize that. Okay? He covers his mouth. Be quiet. There he goes, wiping his, like he's gonna cry. Now look at this guy. This guy knows that I'm videotaping. He doesn't want to be on camera because he's a perp. So he blocks his face as I turn. Okay, watch. Blocks his face as I turn. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video here, and you guys can go on the previous video that I did, which shows the entire video in 1080p, and you can pause it to see where the woman is walking by, and you can clearly see she sticks her middle finger out at me. Okay? This is what the perps do. This is what is called street theater. Except we're indoors, so it's a psychological theater using hand signals in which I've been conditioned to recognize. Okay, that was done using dark NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, along with the silent sound spread spectrum to condition me as I was sleeping subconsciously. So they were using the silent sound spread technology to condition me, okay, to create the triggers and the anchors. Okay, so now after I've been conditioned, when I go outside, people do a particular hand signal, that's a trigger, and because I've been conditioned to recognize it, whether it be a negative feeling or a negative thought, that takes over. Okay, and that is meant to create what is called the fight or flight. Okay, and so psychological manipulation is what they're doing. Don't be fooled by them. Don't listen to these psychiatrists who saying that nothing is happening to you. This is all in your mind. They're working with the government. They're working with the police department. The police department are working with them together. All three entities. Police department, actually more than three. Police department, the psychiatric industry, the state-run psychiatric industry, psychiatrists, okay, and members of your community and outside the community who participate in psychological warfare. So psychological warfare, let's talk about the three top priorities. Okay? Psychological warfare. Psychiatry to attack the psychological integrity and credibility of victims. The weapons of degrading theme or pedophilia to use as a threat or to prevent exposure. The weapon of high levels of stress and sleep deprivations. The weapon of homelessness or eliminating a person's means of subsistence and financial resources, which they have done to me because of the damage that they've done to my back, using vibrational acoustic weapon on my body, on my persons. And the constant threat of having my disability taken away from me. Okay? When psychiatry attacks the victim's psychological integrity and credibility, it makes the victim more vulnerable to the phenomenon or crime of criminal harassment or psychological warfare, and it also conceals the related knowledge. High level of sleep deprivation can lead to mineral deficiencies and acid-base disorder that can result in serious illnesses and even death. High levels of sleep deprivation can also be used to overwhelm the victim body and lead to cancer. Psychological warfare, credibility. Psychological warfare is an invisible technology that deals with the mind, and destroying the victim's credibility in order to prevent exposure is a top priority. Destroying the victim credibility also result in feelings or the belief of hopelessness. Advanced technology and psychological manipulation are also used to make the victim's claim more unbelievable or to make dismissing these claims easier or more justified. Now, this is what the psychiatrists are doing, and this is what the police are doing when you go and you talk to them about what's happening to you. Okay? When a group or an organization engage in psychological harassment or warfare, they usually use tactics or operate in a way to discredit the victim or have the victim discredited by the medical community, notably psychiatry. Campaigns of disinformation or false information and information restriction or isolation are usually used as well. Psychological warfare. Who can contradict the qualified professionals? If psychiatry and psychologists claim that psychological warfare does not exist, who is qualified to contradict them or to say differently? Over the years and decades, qualified medical professionals, notably psychiatrists and psychologists, have been telling victims that psychological harassment and psychological warfare do not exist, and the victims were subsequently labeled as mentally ill. The phenomenon and its effect on victim was not documented, given the fact that it was said not to exist and actually said to be a medical or mental disorder. The phenomenon of psychological harassment and psychological warfare was explained or interpreted in terms of the victim being ill and delusional instead of being a victim of this phenomenon. With the power of the internet and websites such as this one, the denial of the existence of this phenomenon is probably quickly changing, given the fact that it creates a problem or dilemma for the medical community and medical professionals that would continue this practice. Okay? And I'm going to leave it like that. But you can go to psychologicalharassment.com, go to psychological manipulation, and read all this information that's on here. Okay? Don't be fooled by these people. Alright? They are engaging in psychological warfare, and they want you to believe that you have a mental illness, but you don't have a mental illness. Okay? Do not believe these people when they try to dismiss your claims. Okay? Alright, that's my alarm going off.